Have you ever wondered if flowers react to what time of day it is? That's what we're going to talk about today. Hi, this is Jill from the North Woods, learning how to be a neighborhood naturalist right outside your back door. What's going on outside there? Today we're going to talk about different flowers and plants that react to the time of day, and they're fun to grow and fun to look at as you're going around your neighborhood watch. First of all, there are a lot of flowers that open and close with the sun, and some of them that do a little bit differently than most. First of all, if you talk about morning glories open early in the morning, and then by early afternoon, evening, it closes. And why is that? Because it's looking for all those insects that are pollinating those plants, and it wants those pollinators that are early day pollinators early day. And so by the heat of the day, fading light, those plants close. Then there's something called evening primroses. And what they do is they open at dusk and they close by morning. And why? They pollinate by nocturnal moths. Some people say that you can watch them open if you're patient. You go out in the middle of the night and do that. It's so cool to watch these flowers. One of my favorites is called 4 o'clocks, and they are just so pretty, and they open late afternoon, 4 o'clock, and then they close by morning. They respond to decreasing light because, again, they like those night pollinators like moths. But they are so pretty. I love those plants, and I grow them every year. The next one is called moonflower, and just like you think, it opens at night, closes by sunrise. Same thing, nighttime pollinators. They're very large, fragrant, and white flowers. So they're worth seeing if you get a chance to go and find some around your neighborhood or maybe grow some in your backyard. Then there are some other types of plants that are not so much that they're looking at the time. They're what you call heliotropic. They follow the direction of the sun. And so they will track east to west depending on where the sun is pointing. Think of sunflowers. We had a gigantic sunflower farm not too far from my house. And so you could go there and see just rows and rows of sunflowers, and it's always facing the sun. The mature plants will primarily just then at that point face east, and they lose some of their tracking ability. Why does it do it? Sun tracking improves the amount of sun it soaks in. It's photosynthesis. It's dragging in energy from the sun, and then it also attracts in heat to attract the pollinators. Bugs, they don't have warm blood. They don't get warm like we get warm or can warm themselves, and so they get attracted by warm areas. When I go out bird watching, because I'm on vacation right now, we wait for those times where it starts warming up, because then the bugs start floating around and then the birds come down to feed on those bugs. Then there's also a number of plants that have leaves that react to a certain kind of time. There's something called the prayer plant, and it raises up its leaves at night almost in a prayer posture and then lays them flat during the day. And why does it do that? Because it's trying to reduce how much moisture is lost in its leaves during night. And it's fully out during the daylight when it's going to attract the most energy and soak in that sunlight. And you can do like a time-lapse camera and it will film these opening and closing at the same time. Then there's some plants that close up, not so much when it comes to time, but close up when it's touched. Think about the sensitivity plant. That's a great indoor plant to grow. They're really cool. You touch them and then they close up. It's probably a nighttime defense against different animals and plants that eat bugs. Or maybe it's trying to accumulate dew. If you kind of act as a cup shape, water will sort of filter in towards the center of the plant. But anytime it's touched, anytime there's a change of pressure at all, it shrinks up. Whether it's weather or animals or bugs, it still reacts in that way, which makes it pretty cool. There's something called wood sorrel, and wood sorrel closes at nighttime and opens up at morning, and it follows that same leaf pattern. It's sometimes mistaken for a clover plant. It looks very similar to a clover plant, but the difference is that it changes its behavior at night, and that's how you can tell. The small flowers are part of kind of the understory of a forest type area, and when the leaves, it says, are the stars based on their time. See, it's kind of closes, and so the plants almost act like flowers in that particular sense. Beans, peas, clovers, other legumes, sometimes they move when they're sleeping. The idea is they droop a little at night. I don't know, they're really sleeping, but kind of going into a dormancy. And they droop a little, and if you put a camera on them, you'll see them kind of droop as they go down. I have some plants right now sitting on the back of my deck that do the same kind of thing. And people feel that it helps reduce the amount of water again that it loses during the nighttime. But I also think that that dew strategy is a good idea because it closes up, it protects from pests. But then if dew forms in those leaves, it'll focus in towards the main core of the plant, which is kind of cool too. Some ferns at night, what they do is they curl and uncurl based on light, humidity, and they are trying to, again, protect themselves as the light of the day changes. They are light responsive leaves and slowly change a little bit as they go in over time. Science is trying to figure out why flowers, plants, do they have some sort of internal clock? Are they doing it based on the light that they see? Are they doing it based on other circumstances? And some experiments were done basically in the 1700s and later than that show the plants would still open and close even if the plants were kept in constant darkness. So it's not just reacting to the light, reacting to the sunlight, but also some kind of an internal clock that goes on in their system. The other day, Em and I were out hiking looking for birds, and we noticed that all the trout lilies, we talked about them during the ephemerals podcast, they will come out in full sunlight, typically sort of midday. But if it's a really cloudy day, which it was when we were out bird watching, we saw this entire field filled with trout lilies. Their petals are very sensitive to light and temperature. This was a cold, overcast day. It closed up and stayed closed the entire day. Didn't even show its flower at all. This is to protect the pollen, conserve energy. When the pollinators weren't active, it was too cold outside for there to be many bees or any kind of bugs out there. So it just closes up shop entirely. We didn't know that until we were watching it. That's how I got the idea for this podcast too. And in this particular case, basing itself not as much on the time of day or even maybe the light, but even the light and the temperature together. They are trying to react, like most of the plants do, to their own pollinators. That's kind of a cool way to look at it. So this is something that you could do for yourself. If you wanted to and you wanted to look for some experiments, is that first of all, you could grow some of these plants, either in your backyard or some of like the sensitivity plant inside of your house. You could time-lapse video them. We have a lot of equipment out there, a lot of nerd toys like I like, that will allow you to film a plant over time and see what exactly it does. There are some great YouTube videos out there too, but do it yourself. This is an experiment. So my challenge to you is go find a plant that changes its reaction based on the time of day, the time of light, the direction of the sun, and see if you can't notice its changes throughout the day or throughout the sun cycle, and see if you might think up your own experiments about what you might do. Could you grow a pea and see if it changes during the day and during the night? In different light circumstances, in the same light circumstances? Figure it out. See if you can experiment on your own. All right, everyone, thanks so much. I appreciate you watching. This is about finding nature right outside your front door. We're not a deep dive science, but we're just there so that when we go for our walks around the neighborhood, we go for a hike in our local park or something like that, we just enjoy nature a little bit more. Please remember that you can always email me at jill@startwithsmallsteps.com. I'd love to hear from you. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, yep, that's right. 3 weeks ago, I started putting this out on YouTube because nature podcasts are kind of fun when you get to watch actual pictures of things. Please remember that you can also post right here, like this, share this with a friend, tell your favorite kid about this. I would love to get a community of people who are just excited about going outside, nature, and looking at it right outside their front door. Thanks so much. Have a great day, and remember to get out there and go find a plant that changes during the day.